I just want to take this opportunity to thank the church in our giving. Our church is one of the probably few churches out there. I don't know the statistics because I know a lot of places of worship. They have it really hard because of this pandemic. Churches are going through a lot of trouble, mortgages. It's just difficult for them to meet their mortgage, for them to meet, the responsibilities that they had prior to COVID-19. But I thank God that our church is not in that category. Amen.
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 So it is due to your effort. I just want to thank you a whole lot for what you are doing. But the work, just like what Jesus Christ said, is plentiful. The responsibility is a lot, but there are only fewer people that shoulders the responsibility. You see a church, they will be filled up with people. But when you look at the offerings and the givings and people that participate in the running of the church, there are very few. People don't want to, for some reason, be part of it. They just want to go there and shout hallelujah and clap and just go. It's easy to do that, but I just pray and I thank God that our church is doing well when it comes to giving. But when it comes to our giving towards the sanctuary in terms of towards retiring our mortgage, towards paying the mortgage, towards dedicating money to that particular area of our giving, we are not doing very well. Even when we used to meet in the church, that was one area that we were lacking. This message of today, it is not new. When God gathered the people of Israel, even when they were in the wilderness, he even instructed them how to build the tabernacle, which is the tabernacle is different from a temple or a place of worship. That a tabernacle is is a structure that you can move from place to place. So everybody know that in a church where we worship is a physical building that you don't move. Of a tabernacle, because of the way the Israelites were moving from place to place, so they have a place of worship, a tabernacle, where they move from place to place. And God instructed them how to do all this. And the people contributed to do that. So this is not a new thing. So, and the reason it's not new is because God gave us the privilege. It's a privilege to give to the house of God, most especially to his building. The title of this message today, the full title is Give Your Personal Treasures Towards Building God's Temple. Give your treasure towards building God's temple. And I'm going to take it just like because the bishop kind of like encouraged me to do this based on how what he said earlier on. I'm going to take this thing verse by verse and break it down to the way that all of us we understand. First Chronicles, the message is coming from chapter 29, verses 1 to 5.
Yes.
So what did the first verse tells us over there, basically before that, is that David gathered his people together. You all know the story. Maybe some of us might not. Let me go a little bit into it. See, David, because he built his own house, a flashy house, and he looked at where the where God's this thing is placed, and he was like, how can God be living in the tent when I'm living in this flashy house?
Right.
So God places in his heart to build a temple for the Lord. What happened is that everyone knows that David was a man of war. He have killed so many people, not because he's a criminal, a just war. We talk about just war. So all the war that David fought were all just war. They were war that was needed, commanded by God. But God looked at him and said, even though you did all these things through my directives and all that, but your hand is so full of blood. I am not going to let you build my own house, but I will still give you that honor by letting your son build a house for me. That's exactly what happened, what brought us to verse 1 of this First Chronicles chapter 29. David then, this is what he said. He said, David the king addressed the congregation. He said, he told the congregation, my son Solomon was singled out and chosen by God to do this. That means to build the house. But he told the people, but he's young and untested. And he said the work that that he's going to engage in is huge. To buttress what the bishop was talking about, which is verse 1b. This is what, my breaking it down, this is what David told the people, say, this is not just a place, it's not just a house for people to meet each other. It's not just a place that you go and just do this thing. He said, but a house for God to meet you. This is a place where God is going to meet you. This building, this congregation, this place is where God is going to meet you.
Yes.
It's not just a place for you to meet, because people meet. The thing is that this is the confusion among some of us. We go to a meeting, we meet in a meeting, right? A regular meeting.
Yes.
We meet, we drink, we do all kinds of stuff. He was saying this is not just a place like that. It's not a place for you to meet. But this is a place for God. This is a house for God to meet you. Yes. If you look at that verse, that's basically what David was telling his people. Then he move on to verse 2. I love this part. He said, but I have done my best to get everything together for building the house of God. He talks about all the materials. Talk about the goals for the things of gold. There are goals, there are places that you're going to use, that goals that they're going to use gold to build. They're going to be silver, things that he's going to use silver for, and things for wood. He basically gathered everything together, because before God spoke to him, even after that he's not going to be the one to build the house, but he was collecting all this stuff. Amen?
Amen.
He said he has a great stockpile for all these things to take place. He said, because then he went to verse 3. He said, because my heart was in this thing. Yes. My heart was in building this house
Yes.
for the Lord. Just like I will, employ to every one of us here today. I want our heart to be in that mortgage, in returning the mortgage. We don't physically build the building today, but the only way what we do, anytime we contribute towards building the house, towards the mortgage, we are building the house, we are contributing stones, we are contributing silvers, we are contributing wood, we are contributing gold to the things of gold and wood to the things of wood, even though they're already there. But they're already there. Tomorrow, if we don't pay the mortgage, we can be out of there. So we still have to do all those things for that thing to be ours. Amen?
Amen.
And he said, even though my heart was in all these things, I said, beyond that, he said, I am turning my personal fortune. Look at verse 3. Please, everyone, please look at verse 3. He told the people, he said, he is turning his own personal fortune. That's what he said there. He's giving all these things. He said, even in addition, his own personal fortune, his silver and gold that he himself has in his own house and all that. He's turning it over for the building of the worship of the Lord. Amen?
Amen.
What can be greater than that? Even when I had I mention and give in verse 4, he gave some figures, just like we did, Pastor Vincent said, and said, okay, this is how much we have. This is how much we bought the house. This is how much we need to do to retire this thing. It's just like somebody getting up from here. What verse 4 is saying, it's like almost like somebody getting up among us and say, okay, the 120,000 that is left, I'm going to put 60,000 in there. That's basically what David was saying here. He said he put 3,000 talents, about 130 tons of gold, all from Ophir, the best. It's not just what is the best. Can you imagine that? The best. Because some of us, when we want to give to God, we say, that $20 that is left there, can you take $5 out of it? I probably need $15 for gas. You take $5. Okay, it's time for building for this thing. Sunday, take $1 from there, give one to your brother. Give $3 to me. You give the other $1 to your mom. Everybody go on. He said the best. He said he gave everything. Everything, his personal stuff, his personal wealth. He went into it in order to satisfy giving to God. So verse 5, which is the last verse, he said, and for the gold and silver work by craftsmen and artisans, people that are going to build this thing, even make arrangement for everything. So after mentioning all these things, look how David was a very, that is why God said, he's a man after my own heart. After analyzing this to all his people, you see, he didn't say David could have just go ahead and build all these things. God basically don't need us, in essence, to build the house. It's not that God doesn't have the money to. God can just, if God is the one that created the heavens and the earth, he can just breathe for any place of worship. All you need to do is just breathe and be building everywhere. But he gave us the opportunity. That's exactly what David did. David could as well just go ahead and build this thing without even calling or his and his son. He had the money. But he went ahead, he gave everyone the opportunity to contribute. Then after he told the congregation about all these things, he went ahead and said in 5b, he said, who among you is ready and are willing to join in the giving? That was the last question. The way he phrased it, but the meaning, the way he phrased it, then look at it. The way he phrased it, when you look at it, it's a little bit different. But what it means is that Who among you is ready and willing to join in the giving? Who among you is ready today, all Saint Christian Assembly? You have heard, you have been told that it's good to give. Who among you is willing to join in retiring the $120,000 plus the maintenance fee and everything that we go through in retiring the mortgage of the church? Bishop touched in some of these areas. I want to stress about it because everyone out there, especially people who are not Christians, they are always talking about, oh, it's always, and when it comes to church, it's always giving, give for this, give for that, give for this. These are people, they don't even know anything when it comes to the church. Let me break it home to you a little bit. Let me bring it home. All of us, if we don't have our own home, I thank God a lot of people here, we have our homes that we pay mortgage.
Yes.
That we pay our mortgage every month. And those of us who are not some of us, just by design, they don't want any mortgage, they just want to rent, and they don't want the headache. And some of us, they are not there yet. And I pray that each and every one of us that wants to be able to get a home, that God will help them to be able to afford one. Amen?
Amen.
Each one of us, every month, we pay our mortgage, right?
Yes.
I will probably say for everyone, if you want to unmute yourself now, you can unmute so that you can respond to me. If everyone, you pay your mortgage every month, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You pay your light bills, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Pay your car note, right?
Yes.
You pay your children's school fees, right?
Yes.
You pay for your food, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You pay for clothes, right?
Yes, sir.
Maybe not every month. You pay for gas almost every week, right?
Yes.
Do you just pay for your mortgage and say forget about the other ones, right? No?
No.
So the thing is that you don't say, okay, I pay my tithe and offering, so I am not going to pay for the building fund. You have to be able to separate this and bring it together, bring it home and say, okay, my tithe and offering, this is $50 a month. My building fund, $30 a month. Whatever fund that the church, that you have to pay to the church, you have to be able to segregate them just like you segregate all your bills that I just mentioned, even beyond that, in your home. Because you don't say, I'll pay my mortgage to these people, so I'm done, so you just relax. It doesn't work that way. So let us please sit back and basically try to do this in a way that it will not be a burden on the church. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.